Hey folks, Bill Gallagher here for the final round of Daily D&T for this week. Remember, if you enjoyed the series, please consider supporting it. No one has currently supported next week's at the time of this recording. Oh yeah, doing the thing that I'm doing. So check out the deck tech from Monday if you want more info on the build, but highlights are there's a Brightling in the main deck and an Elspeth in the sideboard. We'll keep this hand. It's fine. So this could mean all sorts of things. It could be Red Prison, it could be Sneak and Show, could be any number of Stompy decks, an Eldrazi Ramp deck, an Eldrazi Aggro deck is the answer. Our hand isn't exactly fantastic versus Eldrazi Aggro. I'm going to opt to just go ahead and port them. My hand is terrible, and I'm going to hope that I can buy some time. My opponent didn't have a turn 1 play, so if they don't have another land, maybe I choke them for a little while, and I can continue to make land drops and get virtual card advantage that way. There's a pause here from my opponent. That pause may be them considering whether or not they want to do something like play an endless one on x=2. Or they could have just turned away from the screen. That's what the pause is. Alright, goodbye, Mr. Sword of Fire and Ice. That's not really what I'm looking for in terms of draws. Now that there's pressure on the board, I don't think I can just port, make a land drop, and then port and play Thalia. I think I need to put something in play and then threaten like Thalia plus Mishra's Factory double blocks to kill the Thought-Knot Seer. If my opponent does have something like Reality Smasher, I think I'm pretty much dead. The wasteland that's on board also makes the fact, like, the likelihood of me being able to double block successfully very low. Especially now. I mean, I guess the good news is that if I take these Thought-Knot Seers out of play, I am going to get to draw new cards. Yep. I'm going to need a Palace Jailer Caliber card to get out of this situation. Jitte doesn't do it. Stoneforge is probably too slow. Yep. I think we'll throw in the towel there. You know, we can technically live another turn, but damage is done. Jump blockers. Better body than some of my main deck bodies. Actual removal. Actual removal. Potential removal. You might be okay. You're probably not coming in. So, what's bad? Prelate's pretty bad. That's going to be our starting point. Mother of Runes. Not likely to do a lot. And this puts us at 62. Thalias are kind of whatever, but become good with equipment. Revokers are medium. Crusader's medium, Brightling's good. Recruiter's slow, but very good if it happens to work out. I think I will potentially not play that. Actually read this card. So play it on 4, create 2 chump blockers. So this will be good against like Thought-Knots and such, but bad against Smasher. That's fine. Let's trim 1 Thalia. Mirror Crusader trades with Thought-Knots here without anything else on the board. And my Thalias become worse when I'm boarding in Council's Judgment and Elspeth and another path. My opening hand here is pretty good. Assuming my opponent doesn't go ham on turn 1, my line is Karakas Vial, followed by Karakas Vial, Wasteland, literally whatever land they play on turn 1. Just do not care. Get it out, buy time for the Vials to do stuff. It means that this card is going to be relatively weak in the context of this hand. Sorcerous Spyglass is an absolute disaster for me if that were to come down this turn. That's basically Sorcerous Spyglass, yeah. At least we didn't get wastelanded as well. So now we can deploy the other vial. Again, hand's super weak. But if we make it a few turns, oh my gosh. Yes. There's a real argument to not play this Thalia. But I can just bounce it with my Karakas if I need to get some of this stuff into play, and then redeploy it with Vial. Okay, we take those. While my opponent's re-sideboarding, I'm going to top off with water. Alright, sorry about that, YouTube. I try not to do that during the recordings, but I totally forgot in between rounds. And my opponent would have been still sideboarding anyway, so I would have been spinning my wheels. So we'd like a hand with removal when we're on the draw, if at all possible. Why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me, deck? I'm keeping it after my opponent has mulliganed because we have the possibility of playing a Vial and then wastelanding my opponent and then having the time to actually draw into the white for Swords to Plowshares. Once Upon a Time has not overly impressed me in Eldrazi personally. It makes your opening hands better, Like, unquestionably, it makes your opening hands better. But anytime it's not in your opening hand, it's just atrocious. All right. So, I think I am going to let my opponent wasteland themselves and play that City of Traders rather than use my wasteland. Because then I can let my opponent get one thing into play. And then I can try to do something about it. So, like, if my opponent thought knots me, they can take, like, my Stoneforge or my Jitte or my Batterskull or something. But then I can try to wasteland them down to 0 lands and top deck a white source to beat a Thought Knots here that would come in play. That probably would have been my take as well. I can defer the decision to actually wasteland for a turn. White source. Nope. Now, do I want to continue to port, or do I want to put the Jitte in play so that 2 turns down the line I could go Recruit or Equip? That's tough. I think I need to start playing towards that. The problem about taking this line is that if in my opponent's 4 cards they have both land and Reality Smasher, I basically die on the spot. Land? No. Okay. I get knocked down to 6 this turn, and then I'm facing lethal. Anything that I top deck has to just be thrown in front of the Thought Knots here. I'll take 4, down to 4. Yep. Alright. That's how we lose this week of daily D&D. So overall thoughts on the deck list. As I suspected, Brightling was very bad this week. In a field of Oko decks, it is just really not what you want. It's also not tutorable. When the meta is full of things like Burn, Delver decks, Blue-White Miracles, this card's great. But when most of your control decks can make Elks that are 3/3s, this is not where you want to be. We never put Elspeth's Son's Nemesis into play, but I think its presence in the sideboard, meaning that I couldn't play Rest in Peace, was more of a negative impact on the league than maybe any other individual decision. So I would not ship back this list again. Notably, though, our list here isn't that far off from a stock D&T list. We came out on the wrong side of variance in a couple of very timely spots. But overall, I don't think D&T is particularly well poised right now. And that's something I've talked about a little bit here and there. But generally speaking, things are a disaster versus the various Oko piles that have like K-Command and Engineer and Oko and God knows what else they shove into those greedy mana bases. And that's why you'll see a lot of D&T decks right now running around with like 3 Council's Judgments, 3 Cataclysms, or something like that to try to fight against those decks. But at the same time, you're also trying to fight against Breach by playing a whole bunch of copies of Deafening Silence and super early interaction. So if you end up gearing like 6 of your sideboard slots for the Oko decks and 6 of your sideboard slots for the Breach decks, you don't actually get very many cards that are just generic that can be slotted in everywhere. Because things like Deafening Silence and Grafdigger's Cage and Cataclysm are super narrow. Yeah, but I'm not going to stop playing D&T. You know, it is what it is. Doesn't feel like the best right now, but it always comes back. Maybe we'll get a broken white card soon. Right? Right? YouTube? Anyone there? Hello? No, I don't really think so either as of right now. Alright, folks, cheers. I'll see you next week.